Good day everyone, this is Gyan once again. Now, I've shared with people in my previous video that I am a South African currently living in Panama, Central America. And therefore I am a foreigner meddling in the elections of the United States of America. Because I'm passionate about the upcoming elections. And the reason I am passionate is because there is a candidate, Andrew Yang, 2020. And he has a principle that he's moving his campaign with. The principle is humanity first. Humanity first implies that it's not for profit first. Meaning, if you put humans at the center of capitalism, where everything functions around improving and bettering the lives of humans, and profit is made that way, where you can see people's lives improvement, then you have a successful capitalistic system. You're not exploiting people, you're not abusing people, and you are not harming people mentally, physically, emotionally, on all levels. So when you have a human-centered capitalism, then you have a principle in play of how society will function and how people will interact with each other, which is humanity first. This also means that all companies, all industries, will work from that principle of humanity first. And that means they have to adjust themselves in such a way where air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, that includes agriculture, includes mining, it includes all your industries, has to change how they are practicing what they're doing to put humanity first. If you put pesticides in your food, if you use GMO seeds, if you use anything on your crops that harms humans in the long run, or has negative effects on the human, then that is not putting humanity first. That's putting profits first. So people, society, will have to start adjusting according to that principle of humanity first. And this is why I support Andrew Yang. That the fact that I saw that slogan saying humanity first, not change, not make America great again, not these bullshit slogans. It was actually something that had a principle behind it. Within the current world we live in, of capitalism, where capitalism is currently working around profit and greed, and therefore anything can be done to people, and no one cares, because there's profit being made, there's businesses running. So it doesn't matter if humans are being harmed or abused. That's the current capitalistic system. So with Andrew Yang's approach and direction of humanity first, the obvious thing that needed to be implemented was a universal basic income, also known as the freedom dividend, because that creates a trickle-up economy which falls in line with the principle of humanity first, right? So just those two basic points got me passionate about Andrew Yang's campaign. Now, I've been an advocate, I've advocated universal basic income, I've advocated our own designs with the group of people that I've been working with, which is called Destiny, and we've been working with what we call the equal money system. We wrote books on it, we had articles on it, and we've pushed this equal money system point for years. And then we went to a LIG, which is a living income guarantee proposal that we had. And we have pushed things like this for many years. Hi Matthias. So with pushing this for years, there was never a mainstream acceptance of it. People didn't accept, people didn't even see it possible. So for me, seeing Andrew Yang not just bringing universal basic income to the front line, but actually running for president of the United States of America and making it his number one point to implement, was such a bold and unexpected move for me. I was amazed. I was like, wow. For years of my life, I've spent promoting UBI structures. We called it in our group and what we created on a political and economical level, the Living Income Guarantee, which is the LIG, or the EMS, which was the Equal Money System. Now UBI is very similar and it has the same similar principles within it. Hey Gerthor, happy holidays, humanity first. Thank you. So with seeing Andrew Yang, I was like, this is unreal, it's surreal. I was like, this is impossible. There cannot be someone running for president of the United States of America proposing, not just proposing, but pushing a freedom dividend, also known as the universal basic income. And he didn't go of giving everyone $100. He didn't go giving them $500. He went with $1,000. And that's another point that amazed me, because if you look at all the research they've done for the past 50 years on universal basic income or the basic income guarantee plans, they would go to places like Namibia in Africa, and they would give people 100 rands. 100 rand is like $7 per month extra in a community. And then they would claim that that is working. But that amount of money is nothing if you give that to people extra. Now, considering in Africa, people live in extreme poverty, and 100 rand can be the difference between buying a huge bag of corn that I can make meals with and not having that corn bag. So that can improve people's lives, but it's definitely not basic and it's not living. So when Andrew Yang proposed $1,000 a month, I could see that this is not yet the ideal amount, but it's way better than zero, especially in current day's economy. And then when you consider people that do have jobs, that do go to work, and that do earn an annual income, if they get that $12,000 on top of what they're already earning, that is a huge difference in people's lives. Now, if you consider there's 2 adults in a household, or 3 or 4, that can be up to $4,000 extra going into a household per month, on top of possibly their salaries. I mean, this is huge. So for me, Andrew Yang was like an anomaly. Now, I got hooked onto it because of my past and what I've pushed myself. And you can go on my YouTube channel, scroll down to videos from 9-10 years back, and you will see I'm speaking about an equal money system in my videos. So I'm not just making things up. I have the evidence on my YouTube channel. Just scroll down and check it out. Now, with this, I can see how Andrew Yang's movement has been growing and developing, and it's amazing. I'm currently sitting here on Reddit, and I see this post by You Powerful Client from 10 hours ago. And he says in the heading, first time donating to a political campaign, former homeless for 2 years. I believe that Yang will win. And he donated $5,600. Now this guy obviously says he was homeless for 2 years. So he knows what that feels like. He knows the experience, and he knows what $1,000 a month could have helped him with for 2 years being homeless. So he's coming around, not being homeless anymore, and not going into the point of, well, if I was homeless and I came out of homelessness, everyone else should do the same. No, he went, because I was homeless, I don't want anyone else to experience the same in this world. And therefore, I'm going to give $5,600 to Andrew Yang so he can win, so we can live in a society where we prevent abuse, which is humanity first. That's the principle. Where we can avoid having people to go through gauntlets in life that is necessary, that creates suffering and harm, especially if you consider children. If you have adults that have jobs and they lose their jobs and they become homeless, and in that time while they had jobs, they created a family, they had structure set up, all of it is ripped from their feet. And the adults suffer and the children. And if they had pets, the pets suffer. If they had older people they were taking care of, or family members with special needs, everyone suffers. So we can't use the excuse that, well, this is capitalism and you should get up on your feet and you should go work hard and you should make it by yourself. Because we don't live in a world where you can just make it by yourself. There is limited amount of jobs, limited amount of opportunities. And when you don't have money and you start stinking like homelessness after 1 or 2 days, no one's gonna want you to go into their buildings. No one's gonna want to interview you. No one's gonna want to listen to you. It's little factors like this. I mean, we judge people who does have money based on their looks. So how are you going to expect a homeless person to get a job when his looks is on the low level? That's just one point. Never mind health. If you're homeless, you're prone to more sickness. And if you get sick and if you get ill, you can't move yourself. There's so many factors. But I love this, when I see this, where someone can give $5,600 to a campaign through humanity first, the principle. And that's what I want to motivate in everyone today. To realize that this, for me, and I hope you see it too, is once in a lifetime shot. This to me was very specific before 2020. That's your 2020 vision. Are we all clear on seeing the future with 2020 vision? We're going to keep blindsiding ourselves with ideologies, with anger, with frustration, with division, with separation. Because you have to understand that divide and conquer is the way the system functions. And Andrew Yang is bringing unity. He's bringing a way forward. He's not left, he's not right, he's forward. And that is with the humanity first principle. And if people are not going to stand by that, then we are deciding that our 2020 vision is going to not be that. And instead we're going to repeat the past, recreate the past, more division, more poverty, more suffering, more abuse. And we're not going to unite around a principle that is common to everyone, to every single person, because you are part of humanity. And if you can't unite around humanity, then what can you unite around? What I love about the Yang Gang and what it's brought out in people also proved that it exists within us. And all it needed was a platform, and people come out with expressions that you never expected. Racism falls away. All these points that we identify with falls away, and we all unite under humanity first. That is brilliant, because we can put aside our differences for a moment and we can realize that we're all human and we need to put humans first. Because when you put humans first and you take care of humans, then humans will naturally start taking care of the environment. They will naturally start caring about how they live because they're being taken care of. And this is how you solve so many problems in this world. Loneliness, mental instability. You solve the environmental problems because people are not in survival. So they're going to start caring more about, where do I throw my trash? Do I need to buy this? Do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? Can I ride a bike instead of a car? I don't have to rush anymore. I'm not living in fear anymore. So I can actually start focusing on who I am and what I'm doing and what I'm living. And that's how universal basic income and the freedom dividend, in other words, the same thing, will start changing everything. But we have to first get together under one principle. Doesn't matter if you're religious, doesn't matter if you're non-religious, it doesn't matter from what country you are, it doesn't matter from whatever your background is. We can all agree on one thing: humanity first. We are all human. We all breathe the same air. We all need food, water, shelter. We all need transportation, education. We all need basic needs. And that's humanity first. And then from that, we can start living in abundance. Express our own beliefs, we can express our own points, but we will always stand together within humanity first. And we won't divide each other, and we won't fight each other and try and conquer each other, but instead we'll stand together for a better future, which is forward. So I can say a lot and I can talk a lot because I do have a lot, but today I'm specifically making this video because I'm from South Africa, and if you investigate what's happening in South Africa, you will pretty quickly want to change your mind about what you're supporting in the United States of America if you're from America. Because for me, South Africa is like a little research and testing grounds for the world, because you have huge inequality. South Africa is ranked #1 in the world of inequality. We have super rich people and super poor people living side by side, which in return creates a super hostile environment. Rape, murder, and crime is some of the highest in the world. Because there's no jobs. They can't create jobs, they don't know how. When they build new factories, when they start new businesses, it's mainly technology that does the jobs, because the people are uneducated. So even if you want to hire them, you can't, because they're going to be inefficient. And that's going to start happening in America. Your education system is already collapsing. People's already being uneducated. So if you want to create new jobs and most of your people can't fit those jobs, you're going to have super poor people and they're going to start robbing, raping, murdering. And you're going to have a lot of problems to come in the United States of America. And it's not race that's the problem anymore. Race does become a point of blame, but that's not the point. The point is always money, because everyone always wants food, water, shelter, and some luxuries. And as long as you see someone else has it, but you do not, you will try and take it from them. It's called jealousy. But it's not really jealousy, it's a fact of, you know that if someone has too much and you don't have anything, you're being robbed, essentially. That's what you feel like. So you won't mind stabbing them, shooting them, raping them. You won't mad going nuts, because you have nothing. And the more people you leave in a society to have nothing, the more they have to take from you. And that's what inequality means in this world. And the more people go into poverty, and the less people stay out of poverty, those few people is going to live in extreme fear, because you're going to have to always avoid the majority of people from them raping you, murdering you, stabbing you. And that's the feeling currently in South Africa. And that is what was happening. Daily, before I left South Africa, we had to check WhatsApp every day. Can I go to town? Are there strikes? Are there trucks burning on the roads? Are there people throwing stones at cars? What's happening? Was there a murder last night? Was there a home break-in last night? It gets intense. And it's a lot. It's literally every day. It's not like you have to every day check. And every day there's news of something like that happening in your immediate environment. Not somewhere over there, it's happening around you. So when you drive in your car, doors are locked, you live in fear, essentially. And universal basic income would be the perfect solution for South Africa. But they don't know it, they don't care about it. And this is why I am meddling in the elections of the United States of America, because we need an example. And we need it very urgently. And if we don't get that example soon, the world around us is going to get worse and worse. I mean, poverty is getting more. That's a fact. And when societies move into poverty, the next best solution is war. People will vote for war. And if we want to prevent World War III from happening, or any kind of civil wars happening in countries, we need a freedom dividend for every single country in the future to come. And if Andrew Yang doesn't become the President of the United States of America, and you have another 4 years of whoever the hell sits in that office without the freedom dividend, there's going to be 4 more years of hell for many other countries. And they're not going to have an example to look towards. They're not going to have anything that they can have hope in, because there is no hope. If you just look at Zimbabwe, if you look at Namibia, if you look at South Africa, if you just look at those countries where I'm from, South Africa, there's no hope. And when there's no hope, there's horror. Now, with Andrew Yang, it's not just hope. We can take hope and actually manifest it. So we can stop hoping and actually show people that's what you can be doing. So you don't need hope. There's a solution. Do it. And we need it soon. So I know Americans, you might be chilled. You might think, we have a lot of time to entertain all the other candidates like Joe Biden, Pete Buttigieg, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren. No, you don't. No, you don't. You have to think that you've been standing as an example for the world since the beginning of your time, and you can't suddenly abandon that responsibility and just think about yourself. You have to think about the world because you've been standing as that point. So every US citizen needs to realize their power as a US citizen, not just as a person, because we all believe we don't have power. But look at all our movies in South Africa. Look at every movie theater that you see in the world. It's US movies, American movies. If you go to every city and town, it's American. Everyone tries to live in America no matter where they are. So obviously America has influence on the world, and you can't say no, you don't. If you also look at war, most wars in the world is initiated by America, the United States of America. So you cannot say that your influence, well, you can't say that you're not meddling in other countries' politics, economics, or social environments, because you are. Every single day. I mean, when I lived in South Africa, the most news I got was from Donald Trump, more in my own country's politics. So that's meddling. And that's why I'm meddling now in your politics. I'm like, you guys better understand your responsibility, and I'm going to show it to you. You better make a vote that is more than yourself, more than your personal feelings, ones that can show solutions. Think about the third world countries. Think about countries that is influenced by your presence as a country every single day. And imagine how that presence will be if your country, the United States of America, becomes heaven on earth for all people. Prove that racism can be solved through giving everyone money. Proof that inequality can be solved through giving people money. Proof that a society can flourish through taking people out of the fear and scarcity that exists within now. Proof that people can get along regardless of their religious beliefs and their ideologies or whatever it is. And show the world that there is change possible. That's your American responsibility. And you better hold on to it and use it. You can't throw it out the window. because a lot of countries is also gunning for the United States of America, because the United States of America has created chaos in many countries. I mean, the reason apartheid in South Africa ended was because of the meddling of the Clintons in South Africa. I mean, the USA loves meddling in everyone, in every country's politics and economics. So you better not stop meddling now, just so you can claim innocence to your actions and hold yourself accountable to your position and power you have in this world, and start doing the right thing in your country. Start being a beacon of hope, an example of change for real. What if the United States of America becomes the first country in the world to end poverty? That will be proof for the entire world that poverty can be ended. And Nelson Mandela, our former president in 1994, when apartheid ended, said poverty is a man-created thing, and therefore we can uncreate it. We can literally stop it. It's not something that has to exist. Mandela made that clear. And that's since 1994, and still no one did anything. Then you had Martin Luther King, who said the exact same stuff. So donate to Andrew Yang. Come on, guys, don't sit back and think you're gonna go have McDonald's takeaway later today, and then tomorrow, and then you're gonna go have some beers, and you're gonna go have some parties on the weekend. We have 3 days left to change the world. This is not just voting for someone that you like. This is voting for changing the world. And if you don't start seeing it that way, you're not going to be motivated enough to do everything you can. Shaving with Tulsi is a guy on YouTube, and he made a cool video on how you can save money to donate to Andrew Yang. Like, he's talking about take public transportation. He's talking about stop buying crap, like all your sweets and candies. Instead, stick to cooked meals. Don't go eat out. Don't drink. Stop drinking. You know, there's a lot of things you can do to improve your financial situation and to donate to Andrew Yang. And remember, money currently in this world decides everything. And if your political system functions, it functions no different than a casino. Hear me well. The political system functions no different than a casino. Now, what do you know about slot machines? All right, you go into a casino and you see a machine that you like, you have some cash on you, and you start putting your money in, and you play that machine. You win a little bit, and you lose everything. Then you go to another machine. Win a little, lose everything. Win a little, lose everything. And maybe after months, years of gambling, you maybe win something nice and big, not the small amounts. Now, if you look at all your candidates on a stage, each one of them represents a slot machine. And you're going to put your money into them, and you're going to decide which one must pay out. And what are they going to pay out for you? Are they going to pay out something great, a big payout, or are they going to give you the same nonsense as before? A little bit of money, not even anything back, you're just making back what you already spent, and you're going to walk out either just feeling like you didn't do anything or you lost everything. Or are you going to put your money in a machine that you can see has got a huge jackpot and it's ready to pay out at any moment? And you're already going to spend all your money and get all your friends to play that same machine, because it's about how much you play that machine. And you know it's going to pay out. And then, boom, huge jackpot. You win so much that you would have never been able in your life to play that much money out by yourself. And that's what Andrew Yang is. If he gives you $1,000 a month for the rest of your life, that's money you would have never been able to give to yourself at that rate, at that amount. And remember, if Andrew Yang wins in his second term, he said this, the UBI might increase. Now think about that. Imagine the UBI goes to $1,500 a month, 2,000. Who knows how the world will change? All we do know is it will change. I mean, the economy in America alone can make $2.5 trillion a year extra just for giving everyone $1,000 a month, because that money will be spent in the economy, in local economy, local towns and cities. And it will all go back. It will create new middle class, new businesses. It will empower entrepreneurs. It will empower creativity and job creation. It will empower so much. It will empower naturally mental stability, abundance, not living in fear, not living in survival. And that will already be a Medicare for all. Because if you're less stressful, if you're less fearful, if you're less of any of those things, you won't get as sick as much. Yeah. That's how you start with a real solution. Because how many of us get sick currently because of unhealthy diets? We can't afford the food we want. How many of us get sick because we live in constant stress and fear? How many of us suffer and abuse others because of living in stress and fear? Those 2 points alone create so much havoc in this world. If we just take that away from people's lives, you will have so much less bills to pay. You won't have to go to the doctor every single week because you have rashes or itches or fungus or tooth pain and all kinds of weird things. I'm also still working, FYI. So by just giving UBI, you're already giving a Medicare for all, because you're caring for people's medical needs, which is money. Money makes you less stressful, less fearful, less anxious, less angry, and it also gives people ways out of abusive situations. So on top of that, you will also have less people needing psychological help. There's so much benefit to a universal basic income that it's not comprehensible by someone that doesn't take the time to actually consider the holistic design and view of reality and how everything is interconnected and how money is at the center of this interconnectedness of how we function with each other and with ourselves, and our relationships with ourselves determines our healthness, how healthy we are, our well-beingness. It determines a lot. It determines how your children experiences you as a parent. Think about it. I mean, it's insane how much money affects people. And if we don't consider that factor first, we're not going to be able to change anything, especially not helping the environment with the global climate change and the destructiveness of environments. We're not going to have time to think about that. You're thinking about not stressing. You're thinking about work. You're thinking about your own shit. How are you going to now suddenly care about the polar bears not having food when you don't even have food? When you don't even have a secure future? Why would you care about the earth if you feel you're not going to live on this earth and don't deserve to live on this earth just because of your income? You see, it's little things like this that all these other candidates don't consider, especially this new guy, the billionaire that's running as well. As someone looking into your, he's all about just climate change, right? He doesn't yet understand the problem like Andrew Yang. He doesn't get it. Therefore, he should not get any attention. The same with Bernie Sanders. He doesn't get it. The same with, I've now seen AOC. If you don't know AOC, let me find her full name. AOC, which is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Also, I'm going to say this straight up, she's full of shit because she doesn't understand the problem. She just yells and screams, creates anger, creates ideology, and she's diverting the real problem which is income inequality. And even if it isn't income inequality, it's poverty. Even if it isn't poverty, it's the fact that money influences people's mentality, how they live, and their health. And therefore, money has to be the first solution before you can have a Green New Deal, before you can have anything working that you want to implement to help the earth. You need to first have people that work, people that's been helped, people that's healthy. As within, so without. As above, so below. Simple. So we have to keep that equal, and it starts with us humans. We need to be well, we need to be healthy, we need to have a good mindset, a healthy mentality. We need to have a vision for eternity. Currently we have a vision for today. We only think about surviving. We don't have time to think about your children's children's children. So how can we think about the earth and reforestation? How can we think about sorting out air pollution or helping the ice caps melt slower or whatever it is we want to do? I mean, as Andrew Yang also says, it's already too late. We are literally 20 years too late. And that's something they don't share. We need to move the world fast as possible away from the consequences that's already playing out. And we need to actually get to sorting out the human's existence on this planet. And I'm very happy Andrew Yang said humanity first, not America first, because just by that fact shows you where his heart is. His heart is with humanity. And that's a very, very cool and important point. You don't see any other candidate having such a principle that drives them. And that's very important when you look at a candidate. They have different points. Like with Bernie Sanders, I get his point. His point is seeing people suffering with the medical and with the educational institutions, which is a big problem. And it has to be sorted. But he only holds those people in his heart. And that's what he's moving with. I don't know if he's disempowering himself deliberately by only focusing on that and not focusing first at the true root cause, which is money inequality in all levels of society. Then you go and move and change those points. But first you have to create that security for people that you're going to get $1,000 a month until you die. You have nothing to worry about. And that $1,000 will possibly change in the future to be a bigger amount. So you have that security in your essence of your being, that you are safe in this world, that you are okay in this world, that no one will just throw you onto the street and you'll die hungry and thirsty and sick. You have $1,000 a month. And if you and two other people get together, you have $2,000 a month, then $3,000 a month. So you always have a way to climb back up. That is what I call freedom. That's what I say is true choice. Currently, no one has actual choice. You're forced to live in this world in a way where if there's no jobs, you don't have a choice. It's really that simple. You don't. Your choice then is made for you. You're going to die of starvation if you don't have a job. And you also don't have a choice where you're born. You don't have a choice what jobs your parents are doing in the household you're born in. Free choice is, at this moment, a huge illusion for humanity. And we all get stuck in that so badly that we miss the obvious points that you didn't choose if you're going to be black, white, Asian, or whatever. You didn't choose that. You didn't know that. You didn't choose if you're going to be born rich or poor. You didn't know that. You didn't choose if you're going to be born in India or in America. You didn't choose that stuff. Where's your free choice? You will only have free choice in this current world if you have money to exercise your choices in reality. Otherwise, it's just imaginary. It's just dreams. It's not choice. And money is the vessel in this world with which we dominate each other currently, destroy each other, be spiteful towards each other, and abuse each other. But it also shows us that money is currently, therefore, the only choice we have in this world. It's literally, money is literally your choice between eating and not eating. That's the only choice you have. So we need to give people money. That's the obvious answer. And Andrew Yang went straight to the obvious answer. All the other candidates are not obvious. So it shows that they're still way trapped in their head with keeping their careers going. And that's a very important point. You have to always understand that politicians has a career to keep. If they solve problems, then they don't have a job anymore. They don't have a purpose anymore. People don't have any reason to like them anymore, because if the problems are solved, then what is their existence for? So they always try and push points that never leads, or that never takes anything to a definite solution. Politicians are like doctors in the current medical industry. The more symptoms they can find for you, the more medicine they can give you, prescriptions, and the more money they can get. Where Andrew Yang comes in and says, hey, I have a cure, so we can stop all these prescriptions and all these things, and they all just say no, because they want to make money, they want to have a business. So if you look at Bernie, if you look at Warren, if you look at Cory, if you look at Biden, if you look at all of them, Pete, they're career politicians, which means they're going to always diagnose the wrong things, never the cause, and they're always going to give you prescriptions and solutions to those things that they diagnose, but they're never going to tell you the true cause of that illness or that problem, because then you're going to find a solution, and if you find a solution, then they're going to have no need. They're going to not have to exist. And that's a big fear for politicians. So you have to look at, if, like for example, Bernie used to say that universal basic income is a great idea. The moment Andrew Yang brought that cure and preventative remedy to the front line, Bernie backed off very quickly. And he said, no, federal jobs guarantee. And used this bullshit reason. Because as long as there's federal jobs guarantee, then Medicare for all and all the other things that he makes people angry about, like for example the student loans, will always remain valid, and therefore he will always have a job. He will always remain valid, because he's not solving those problems, he's just using them to have a career. And it's sad to see this happening, because if you start implementing in a UBI and you start creating a human-centered capitalistic system, then these education institutes are going to have to forgive debt out of their own. They're going to have to change their own structures, because if they don't, then they won't have a place in society, because people will actually have a say, because they have $1,000 a month, so they have power, and the institutes can't use power against people anymore. Therefore, they are going to have to change. And that's why, as long as all the other politicians don't say yes to UBI and implement UBI, they all have a job. So they're never gonna say yes. Andrew Yang came in as an entrepreneur. He has no desire to create a job out of being a politician. So he has nothing to lose, and therefore he's willing to give the cure to everything. And say, here's the cure, guys. I don't know why they haven't given you the cure before. It was laying in the back right there. That's because they didn't want to. Andrew's giving it to you, and they're all afraid of that. They're all afraid that they're going to lose their reasons. They're going to lose their solutions, because it's going to be all irrelevant once you have a UBI in place. And that's the truth. So let your candidates be exposed for you through what I'm showing you and telling you. If you're a Bernie supporter, if you're a Warren supporter, if you're a Pete supporter, if you're a Biden supporter, realize they never want to give you the cure, the remedy, the solution. They want to give you more prescriptions. They want to make you dependent on the political system, just like how the student loans gets the students to be absolutely dependent on the education system and hooked to the education system so they make money. The same way the medical institutions use patients and never give them a cure, like cancer. You know, they're never going to find a solution or a cure for cancer because they make so much money. They get so much attention for it. The same with AIDS. So your politicians you're right now supporting comes from the exact same system. And they know that their jobs and livelihoods depend on all the problems they present to you and all the cures and remedies they give you, which is like your social security things, you know, where they say, oh, you have a disability social security, you have a food stamps, you have this. There's your solutions, that's your medicine. They'll never give you the solution, the cure straight up, which is what Andrew Yang is doing. Because if they do that, then they don't have a job. They can't keep taking taxpayers' money and put it in their pocket as their salary because they won't need that job anymore. I mean, there's so much here that people need to look into with just politicians and why Andrew Yang is sticking out. I mean, he has no desire to stick in politics forever and make a job. But he's an engineer. He will leave politics and he'll go do his own business, his own work after that. He'll continue his life. The rest of them have been here for a long time and they want to be here for a long time. So they're never going to give you a cure solution because that puts them out of a job. Man, the sun is annoying here. It's like right there in my eyes. Like, so that is something that we have to all consider. Now I'm pushing this live hangout because I want people to donate to Andrew Yang, and people need to go donate for Andrew Yang right now. So the more people I can get on here, the more people can see this, the better. But I am also still working and I don't know how long this hangout can last. But let's read stuff from Twitter. What's new on Twitter with Andrew Yang? Alright, he's got currently, let's see, 1.1 million followers. And it seems that there's every day a lot of stuff about Andrew Yang. I mean, guys, someone just donated $5,600 to the campaign. You know how much money that is? Now, as a South African, that's a ton of money. You know, that's like a few months of salary. Someone just gave a few months of salary to Andrew Yang. And there's one guy that also gave $4,000. And he said he was doing it because he wants to donate on behalf of the other people that don't necessarily have the funds. So he was stepping in, humanity first in action. And he's saying, you know what? I'm going to give as much money as I can on behalf of all the other people that I know also believe in Andrew Yang, but don't necessarily have that $10 or even $20 to give. But the more people that do that and step up for each other, the more we're proving that what this capitalistic system has made out of us, these brutal humans, these evil humans, isn't true. That's not who we are. It's because of the system that we have become like demons. We have been dehumanized. That's what the word demons sounds like, dehumanized. And we live in a democracy, which is a mockery. It's the mockery of the demons, the dehumanized people. And that's the only way they can control us, is to not have a connection with each other, to not care about each other. And here you can see on Andrew Yang's campaign, people are just coming through, showing the true colors of humanity. It's beautiful. Now imagine we have that globally. Imagine we have that everywhere in the world. What a world we will live in. It will be amazing. So don't give up. Donate. Don't give up pushing. Support. Share. like as much as you can the videos, the tweets, the Reddit, Facebook. Go everywhere. Just spend some time liking, tweeting, do the phone banking, call people, reach out to people, make videos like this. The more you guys videos, the more reach you have, the more internet clout you have. There's a lot that we can do in small things that makes everything relevant. You might be just one person, but that's a lot of power if it's 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. And we all just need to stay together and add and count ourselves in. So Adrian's campaign is currently at 1.6 million, which is $1,689,235. And we need to reach 3 million in 3 days. That includes today, so it's today, tomorrow, and the day after. We need to reach almost 1.3 million more, 1.32 million more. That is quite a lot. So can we reach it? We have to reach it. We have to show the world that we're ready to change. I mean, I'm tired of the world the way it is. I'm tired of the suffering. I'm tired of poverty. I'm tired of people talking about ending poverty. I want to end poverty. I'm tired of people talking about ending war. Let's end war. I'm tired of so many things that still exist that they've been talking about for 50, 60, 70, 100 years that they're going to end, and no one has ended. So, when can we end this? When can we end separation? When can we end racism? When can we end the inequality that exists? And this is it. Are we ready for it? Are you ready to let go of the drama in this world that we've been latching on and sucking on for so long? We've literally created our existences around it. Can we let go of that purpose that we've been living around? The purpose being, we've been living around, we have to survive, we have to fight, we have to push forward. Life is such a burden. Life just is so much different than you believe. I mean, all of that doesn't have to be like that anymore. We can literally end it, change it, move forward. And Andrew Yang is proving to the world that what we've been accepting and allowing as our existence on Earth has all been bullshit. Because it's been deliberate, in fact. You've had Martin Luther King showing we need this solution. You've had the founding fathers of the USA showing this solution. And no one has done it, which shows that we've been living in a deliberate acceptance and allowance and a deliberate push by politicians and the economic system to live in suffering. And all us normal people call that life. No, that's not life. That's something that's been enforced onto us. And we just take it upon ourselves and say, that's just life, that's the way it is. No, it's not. The fact that the founding fathers of the United States of America already saw that that's not the way life is and we can change it, and no one did anything in the 200-300 years to change it, shows you that you've been living deliberately in a system that causes you abuse. And you've been putting all that blame and hate onto yourself. You've been putting everything onto yourself as if you are the mistake, you are the sin, you are the wrongdoing, you are the weak one. And it's so untrue. And it's going to be scary to realize the truth of this world once a universal basic income is implemented. It's going to be scary to realize what has been deliberately kept from you and all the harm and abuse that has been deliberately done onto animals, humans, plants, environment, everything for decades. And you're going to realize all of it has been deliberate. And that's a point that everyone fears in the political system, and it's even something that a lot of individual, normal citizens fear realizing and understanding that Everything that we've been doing to each other, everything that we've been doing to the environment, and to everything that we touch has been so deliberate because it has been so preventable since 300 years ago. We just never did it. And that's a scary thought. That's like realizing that we're all evil. But we're not, because that's a system that's been imposed on us, and that's the point we have to break through for voting for Andrew Yang and for showing change is possible. And this is actually an act of forgiveness, an act of forgiveness, forgiving everyone, forgiving everything, and saying, let's forgive what we have done, and let's live that forgiveness in change forward, where we create a world space for all. So if people are not motivated by Andrew Yang and they stick with the other candidates, then all I'm asking you is look into your humanity and take a moment to really slow down. Go sit down in your room, take a pen and paper, and really look at children, every single child in this world. And if you're a United States of America citizen, start with your country. Look at every child, look at every animal, look at every single person. And think how $1,000 would change their life in thought, word, and deed, all levels. All right? Then take it bigger and bigger and bigger. Create that picture for you how having money will improve your mental state of being, how it will improve your relationships, how it will improve your spending, your creational abilities, your creational juices. Go and really take time and see how this freedom dividend is way much more than what any other candidate has ever promised you, ever, in your time of existence, unless you were born before MLK, because he promised it to you too, he showed it to you too. So take that time and you will see how small and irrelevant all the other candidates look in comparison to Andrew Yang, because Andrew Yang he's got the cure, not just the bandage, the temporary solutions. And once you have the cure, you give the cure to everyone, and then you start supporting everyone with healing what's already been, healing all the damage that's already been caused by the disease, such as student loans, healthcare, housing, all of it. Then you go into everything, but you need to first give everyone the cure. You can't try and solve everyone's problems before you've injected the cure into them. I mean, just think of a zombie movie and you find the cure, but you run around giving bandages to zombies and trying to stitch them up before you give them the cure. You have to first give them the cure, because then they start healing from the inside out, and then you start putting bandages on and stitching them up and healing them. Otherwise, what are you doing, right? All the other politicians is doing what I just explained. They're running after zombies, as an example, trying to throw plasters at them, trying to throw all the cure, all the remedies and temporary solutions at them, but the cure is just laying there. Andrew Yang is holding the cure, and that's what you need to first give people, that injection of $1,000 a month, and then you start healing everything that's already been caused by being a zombie, you know, by being damaged by being a zombie. I'm using a movie, it might sound a little bit stupid, but I'm just trying to give you an example of, you need the cure, you need prevention. So once you've given the cure, everyone else coming after that then is a prevention, an act of prevention. If you don't have an act of prevention, then what is your medical solutions then? It's just profit. What is your educational solutions then? It's just profit. So you need the cure, you need prevention. If you as a politician don't give those 2 points first, you're just effing around. And that exposes everything about Bernie to me, everything about Biden to me, everything about Pete to me, everything about, I can't remember that other woman. I don't even know how she got on the stage. Who's this other woman? I can't even remember her name. There's another woman on the stage. Not Elizabeth Warren, the other one. Like, I was like, who's this? You know, I watched the debates, I'm like, where does she come from? I have no idea how she got there. But none of them has the cure, and none of them have the preventative actions. And how can you assess the actual real problems before you haven't given the cure? That means you already have a predetermined agenda that you're forcing onto people. So it also shows you all the other politicians as a predetermined agenda with their solutions. And they are definitely individually benefiting from their solutions, like Medicare for all, and like the Green New Deal, and like every other solution they're giving you. Because those are not the cures, and those are not the preventative solutions. So there's an agenda. Andrew Yang is giving you the cure and the preventative solutions, and then assess the actual problems that remain afterwards. So you don't exhaust yourself spending more time than needed, more resources than needed, by just trying to cover all the problems, and then they're just going to keep being created because you never give the cure. I mean, we should really develop some common sense here. But I'm just going to say, I need to shut down now. Unfortunately, I did do this for an hour and 1 minute, and I hope that everyone listens to it, because I'm a South African meddling in your elections, and you better take it serious. So re-listen to this whole thing, share it with everyone you know. I'm not a Russian spy, I'm a South African third world country election meddler. Alright, thank you very much everyone. Cheers, I hope this video helped you. Let's get people motivated. 3 mil for Andrew Yang, and we have 3 days to go, including today. So it's today, tomorrow, day after. Let's get there. It's time we change. Enough with the same old beep. Cheerio.